We have some key players on the table for this week's AstroTarot, and they are speaking to a lot of the astrology transits that are upcoming over not only just this week, but over the next few months. So I want to go ahead and jump in. The opening card that we have for the week is the Justice card, and we see this person sitting on this throne. She has a scale in her hands, and in a lot of ways it's very telling of some kind of divine balance or measuring that's happening. Now, the Justice card is a card that refers to relationships as well as legal matters and decision making. And we see this person who's weighing all things, all truths, so that she can make some kind of divine choice and bring about some kind of divine balance. The Justice card is governed by the zodiac sign of Libra. What's so interesting right now is that we do have the sun in Libra, we have Mercury in Libra, and the moon is going to be in Libra as of tomorrow morning when it eclipses the sun. And what's so interesting about that is that having the sun transit also over where the south node is, because the south node is also in Libra, is speaking to some kind of ending that is going to be happening in our lives. Now, I don't want you to worry. In a lot of ways, this could be ending something that just is not working for you anymore. And it could even be a reflection of how a relationship defines you, or some experience or some business partner defines you, and there's letting go of that and leaning more toward the north node, which is actually over in Aries, really close to Chiron. So we have the north node in close proximity to the wounded healer, and in a lot of ways could be bringing us back to a sense of self, or something that we need to heal in ourselves so that we can shine our light a little bit brighter in the world. So this is going to be a very powerful eclipse that is happening in relationships, and I do believe that this first opening card is foretelling of that. Now, the challenge also lends some weight to that on the table, because the challenge came in by way of the Two of Cups, which is a functional relationship. Now, the Two of Cups is usually a very ideal card, but if it's coming in as our challenge, it's speaking to some kind of relationship where there's some kind of friction or something that is challenging us to another level. The way through that challenge actually came in by way of the Seven of Pentacles. This is a card of having patience and allowing things to grow, seeing what worked and what didn't work. If you have a gardening spirit, or you love houseplants, you can tell from year to year that your plants will give you feedback around their conditions, their watering cycles, how much food you give them, if you give them food, for instance, and their amount of light that they have, and the amount of attention that you give them. Well, life is like that too, and so are relationships. So there's some reviewing process going on as we look at the fruits of our labor, or the fruits of our relationship, or the outcomes of some kind of one-on-one exchange, and we see what worked and what didn't work in that exchange. And it's letting us see things from two different angles, because we see that this person in this card has two different colored boots on, and they've pulled something to the side. They're looking at what indeed they value in relationship, or in that relationship that they're having a challenge or difficulty with. Now we get to the interesting stuff. So the ultimate outcome. I pulled us a lot of cards for the ultimate outcome. I kept pulling us cards. So it started off with the Ten of Swords. Okay. So when you're pulling over your plants or your harvest at the end of the season, there is some amount of, not seeing clearly through the situation, having some kind of overwhelm or denial around the situation based on how you're seeing things. We see that this person in this card has 10 swords down their back, which has paralyzed them. And it's telling that the mind has brought around some kind of paralysis to where we feel overwhelmed and completely defeated. However, that was followed up by the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is a messenger of great change and great shifts. It also is a very hopeful card. It's telling of Jupiter, which is over in Taurus right now. And I'm going to speak a little bit more about the transits that are coming up after we get through just talking about these cards briefly. But I just want you to not fret by seeing these 10 of Swords, because there is some big change that is coming through. Now, it is signaling Jupiter's energetic, and Jupiter tends to be the Santa Claus of the zodiac, so he tends to bring help and expansion to situations and to areas that he shows up in our chart and in our lives. So there is some big shift and some big change or expansion that we are in the process with around this relationship. Now that was followed up by the 9 of Wands. We see someone who is gathering themselves, learning from their past experiences. You see that this person looks a little defeated and beaten up, right? Especially with those 9 wands, one of them in their hand and 8 of them standing that they're looking over their shoulder at. And it's asking you and reminding you, hey, if something didn't work the first way that you did it, you know, maybe you got to try a different way of doing it, because if you keep doing it the same way, that's the definition of insanity, right? To expect a different outcome and do the same things. So we see someone who's actually gathering their sense of self and gathering themselves after this experience that they've been going through. And that then was followed up by the 10 of Cups, which is actually a pretty beneficial card. So there's this lending quality of this shift of nature around some experience that is happening in our life. This was further followed up by the reversed Hanged Man, which is a card of yielding. This is how it looks upright. And it's a card of surrendering to a situation. This card is speaking to the qualities of Neptune and Pisces. And Neptune is currently in Pisces right now in retrograde. It was further followed up by the Devil card reversed, which is speaking to the energetic of Saturn, and where we are feeling some kind of limitation and sense of responsibility in our lives. Saturn is also currently in Pisces. So consider that if you have a lot of Pisces in your chart, or your sun or your moon or your rising in Pisces, it's getting a lot of influence by the planetary transits of Saturn and Neptune in your house that you have your Pisces in, or wherever you have your sun or your moon, for instance, or your rising sign. Interestingly enough, Venus, which governs this card of the Justice card, just moved into Virgo, and that is in direct opposition to where Saturn is right now. So we have this energetic pull between Venus, who is examining our day-to-day lives and our day-to-day routines, and maybe bringing some attentiveness to things that we need to maybe clear out of our lives and things that we need to organize in our lives. And then on the other side, we have Pisces in direct opposition in retrograde, which is holding this anchor in opposition, making us look at, you know, maybe some skeletons in our closet, things that we haven't necessarily wanted to deal with, things that are bringing out some kind of sense of responsibility and accountability in reflection to the Time Lord of Saturn himself. So that's interesting. And then what followed up with it is the Ace of Swords, which is ultimate clarity. So to just speak a little bit about how these cards have brought about some reflection to me, I think it's interesting that the card that's related to Neptune and the card that's related to Saturn both came in reversed in the reading, because those are two planets that are currently in retrograde. Ooh, this bee is getting some warmth from my face. I don't mind if they get close. I just don't like wasps to sting me. That was an interesting moment, though, that they just came by for a visit. So I just want to talk about this real quick. We have Jupiter is at 13 degrees retrograde. It will be trine Venus on the 23rd of October. Uranus, which is over in Taurus as well, also in retrograde, will be trine to Venus on the 31st of October. Neptune, which is retrograde right now at 25 degrees Pisces, will be trine Mars, which is moving into Scorpio right now. It will be trine Mars on the 18th of November, and Neptune will be going direct on the 6th of December. Let's see, Saturn, which is at the beginning degrees of Pisces right now, will be trine Mars today, actually. So that's kind of interesting. We have this aspect or this angle happening with Mars and with Saturn, which is in some ways a helpful energy that is happening today, but it could bring about some kind of outburst that kind of gives you some insight. And Saturn is going direct on the 4th of November. So we have this energy that's playing out, it seems like, through the beginning of December. That is when we'll be able to get some clarity, and consider that eclipse energies usually have an influence on our lives for at least 6 months. They can be bringing about changes and transformations in our lives. So there is a lot of support by way of astrological influence in helping us create this change. So if you feel like a big shift is happening, or a big shift just happened in your life, or some abrupt change, consider that the universe is actually trying to angle your ship a little bit more towards land. And it does this by sometimes taking things out of our lives that aren't actually serving us, or rubbing our nose in things that we are doing which are also not serving us. Now, where the planets show up in your chart is going to be unique to your chart, because when you were born, the planets had their anchoring positions in the sky, and where the planets are now are in different points. But when they transit over your natal anchors or your natal placements, they can trigger really big shifts in your life. So if you'd like to get more familiar with that, feel free to reach out to me. I will be offering more classes through this winter on understanding your chart and looking at astrology transits, and I'd love to invite you to join in if you're interested in that sort of thing. And just to let you know, there have been some big changes in my life. I have the Libra Aries axis in my 2nd and 8th house of my chart. And I recently took a position at the local library as their communications coordinator. So I'm helping promote all of their, programs, and basically I'm the communication hub of the library. And it's been fun. It also has pulled me away from some of the things that are my greatest passions, but I had to do this because where I live in Colorado, it is really hard to find a affordable place to live, or even a place to live in general, because of all the Airbnbs up here. And so I needed to kind of re-angle my ship a little bit in way of how I earn income, because as a business owner, if you are a business person or an entrepreneur, or you have a small business of your own, you know that everything that you earn by way of your business, you end up folding it back into your business. And that's what I've been doing, but now I need to build a stack of cash to be able to find a new place to live in a couple of months. So I took this position to help me bring about some more financial stability in my life. I'm also going to be offering more classes and still making art. So of course, if there's any of my products or any of my offerings or services that call to you, feel free to reach out to me at rootsofalchemy@gmail.com, or check out my website at rootsofalchemy.com. I send you so much love and a lot of encouragement as we move through this eclipse, especially with all of the changes going on in the world. And to speak to that a little bit as well, I had a teacher remind me once that the wars that are going on outside of us are often reflective of the wars that are going on within us. And so to help the community of people that are living all across the world, it is the most ultimate gift for us to create peace within ourselves So if you can take the time to do that and to sit with yourself each and every day for even just a little bit of time and create that peace within and share it with the rest of the world, then I think we can help angle the shift in a more positive direction, considering all the change that we are undergoing and navigating through at the current time. I send you so much love, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.